GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, is a condition where the muscle at the top of your stomach does not seal properly, so stomach contents travel back up toward your mouth. If you have been drinking, that vapor rising from your stomach carries alcohol with it. A breath machine is built on one assumption, that the air you blow into it comes from deep in your lungs. When stomach alcohol vapor mixes into that sample, the machine counts it all, and the number climbs well above your actual blood alcohol level. That is the core problem. Most people picture reflux as obvious heartburn or a loud burp. But silent reflux, sometimes called laryngopharyngeal reflux, moves acid and alcohol vapor up the throat with no symptom you would notice. You do not feel it. The officer does not see it. The machine has no way to flag it. That is exactly what makes GERD so dangerous in a breath case. The contamination leaves no visible trace, yet it can be the difference between a passing and a failing result. California's Title 17 regulations require the officer to continuously watch you for roughly 15 minutes before an evidentiary breath test. The rule exists to make sure you do not burp, regurgitate, eat, drink, or vomit, because any of those events can put mouth alcohol into the sample. In practice, officers are often filling out forms or moving you between rooms, and the observation is not truly continuous. For someone with GERD, a single silent reflux episode during that window defeats the entire purpose of the rule. If the observation was not uninterrupted, the result is open to challenge. Title 17 also requires 2 separate breath samples, and they must agree within a narrow tolerance. Reflux often reveals itself right here. The contaminated sample reads high, the cleaner one reads lower, and the gap between them is larger than a properly run test should ever produce. When the breath records show 2 numbers that do not match closely, GERD is one of the first explanations worth examining. A meaningful disagreement between the 2 readings is a signal that something contaminated the sample. If you have been diagnosed with GERD, take medication for reflux, or have simply seen a doctor about heartburn, that history can become real evidence. Prescription records for proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, H2 blockers like famotidine, an endoscopy report, or a note from your doctor can all establish that you had an active, diagnosed condition at the time of your arrest. The better documented your reflux is, the more weight the argument carries in both the criminal case and the DMV hearing, because the DMV relies on that same breath number to justify suspending your license. GERD does not lower the alcohol actually in your blood, and it does not make you sober if you were genuinely over the limit. What it does is make the breath number unreliable, and that is a critical distinction. Vehicle Code 23152B, the per se charge, is built entirely on that breath result. If reflux made that number unreliable, the case built on it is unreliable too. A blood draw measures alcohol in your blood directly and is not affected by reflux at all, which is why the breath number matters so much more when no blood sample exists. Results vary depending on your records, the breath records, and how your test was administered. If you have reflux and a breath test result, the 2 things may be more connected than you think. I'm Joel Brand, a California DUI lawyer. This is general information, not legal advice. If you want a free written case analysis, it is at DUI.guru.